Welcome back to County Connection. For this next segment, we're going to be talking about fire bans and fire conditions here in Summit County. And here to illuminate us on this topic is the Director of Emergency Management, Rob Pierce. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you, Julie, for having me.
This is your debut on County Connection.
It is.
You just got into the job. Previously, you were a detective with the Sheriff's Office.
That's right.
And you've been in the job for about a month now?
July 3rd was my official start date.
Okay.
So, yeah, coming up on a month.
Great. So can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. As you mentioned, I was a detective recently with the Sheriff's Office. I've been with the Summit County Sheriff's Office for about 4 years now, in various roles, patrol as well as detective. Prior to that, I came from the Orlando area of Central Florida, where I was in law enforcement as well.
Great. And I hear you're an avid skier, which
Love
is
skiing.
part of what drew you here.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, summer should be over soon enough, right?
Let's hope so.
All right. So we're here today to talk about fire and the danger of fire here in Summit County. And wildfire is a topic that the Office of Emergency Management devotes a lot of time to thinking about. Can you talk
Absolutely.
a little bit about your office's role in the topic of wildfire?
Sure. So the Office of Emergency Management, we kind of coordinate resources that would be necessary to fight, or not, we don't personally fight it, but to assist the first responders who are fighting it.
Okay.
So we could pull in resources from the state, or we could coordinate with our federal partners to bring some other resources in if it became necessary.
Okay, great. And then, and you're also, in addition to just kind of the response, you're involved in a lot of preparation and prevention and...
Emergency management is, I would say, the majority is preparation and prevention.
Uh-huh. Okay, so you're working with all kinds of entities in that
Absolutely.
regard.
That's correct.
Okay, and this time of year, you're pretty much on the phone with all these various agencies who kind of touch that fire topic in some way, almost on a weekly basis, if not more.
Right.
So how do you coordinate among all those agencies and keep abreast of fire danger conditions regionally as well as locally right here in Summit County?
So every Tuesday we have a regional conference call, which essentially consists of various entities that are involved in fire danger from Summit County all the way to the Utah border along the I-70 corridor.
Uh-huh.
So it's a teleconference that we have, and it's done every week. We talk about the general conditions across that region. The different jurisdictions talk about whether they feel like they're going to need to go into a fire ban or not based on the fire science that's available that day. Once that's over with, we also have a local teleconference that I host, and I invite all the chiefs of police from the towns in the county, as well as the sheriff and the fire chiefs from the various fire districts. And we essentially had the same conversation using some of that information that we got from the regional. And we also have our partners from the U.S. Forest Service who also contribute to the conversation. And we talk about the fire danger, the fire science, moistures within the fire fuels, such as the grasses, sagebrush, and the different timber. And based on that conversation, we come to a decision as to whether we think that we're nearing or need to go into a fire restriction.
Okay, and so we have heard throughout the West this summer a number of fires, including right here in Colorado.
Right.
We've also heard about fire restrictions being enacted in several communities.
Sure.
So what are current conditions in Summit County, and do we have any restrictions in effect at the moment?
At the moment, we do not have any restrictions in place. We've gotten close to having to institute some recently, but with this monsoonal pulse of moisture that we thankfully have been getting in the last couple of weeks, it's kept us below the threshold that we look at to put these into place. So we've been very fortunate here in Summit County up to this point.
Okay. And then normally in August, as we look ahead throughout this last month, kind of in the heart of summer, are there any trends does fire danger typically go down, or can it kind of...
It really depends on how much of this moisture we get brought in from the monsoon that this time of year we normally get. This week's going to be fairly dry, but we're looking ahead. Hopefully Sunday, Monday, we're going to get some more moisture coming into the county. So, fingers crossed, we're not going to hit that threshold. Hopefully August we'll see a lot more of that monsoonal moisture coming into the area and keep us below that.
Okay. So take us behind the scenes so as you're continuing to monitor these conditions, if this group of folks did decide that any type of fire restriction were necessary, how would you go about implementing that?
So that decision would generally come from a consensus of that local teleconference that I have. If we all came to the conclusion that yes, we have reached that threshold that we need to implement a fire ban, I would present that to the sheriff, and the sheriff would then formally send that up to the Board of County Commissioners, who, provided they were in agreement with us, they would issue the resolution to implement these bans.
Okay, so then the final word comes from the board
That's
upon a
correct.
formal recommendation from your office and the sheriff's office.
Exactly.
Okay, great. And so where can people get up to the minute, most current information about any restrictions that are in place locally?
So if it's during normal business hours during the week, they're more than welcome to call me at my office, 970-423-8925. Otherwise, they can go to our website, the Summit County website, which is summitcountyco.gov. Go to departments, find emergency management, and then click on that. There's frequently asked questions, and the number one question that I get is, do we have the fire ban in Summit County? If they click on that, it's a link that'll send you to the state emergency manager, who has links to, or not links, but they have all the information for all the fire bans for every county in the state. So that's probably the best way to do it, but they're more than welcome to call my office.
All right, perfect.
So.
And in the event that there is a wildfire locally, one of the ways that we would get any kind of urgent information or warning or alerts is through our community notification system,
That's
Summit
correct.
County Alert, which people can also sign up for on the homepage of the Summit County website.
Right.
And this system has been in place for several years, and we're about to give it a little makeover.
We are.
So tell us about what's going on there and what people can expect and what they should be aware of.
Okay, so basically we're changing the platform that powers that Summit County Alert. The name is going to stay the same. We're just going from one company to another company called Code Red to power it. I would suggest that if someone is interested in getting on the Code Red system, to go to their app store and download a Code Red app. The nice thing about Code Red is that they are national. So any community that has Code Red in place, if they have that app on their phone, it's geolocated to their phone, so they could be in another community somewhere, and if there was an emergency in that community, it would also notify them at that time as well. So it's really a good system. We expect the Code Red system, or Code Red version of SC Alert, to come online towards the end of August. So I would kind of hesitate to have people sign up for the SC Alert in the next couple of weeks, because I don't want, as we're transitioning the names that we have and the information we have from one system to the other, I don't want to see anybody get overlooked.
Gotcha.
So just kind of hold off for a couple of weeks, and we'll send out notifications via SC Alert when the new system's online.
Okay, great. And that kind of geographic flexibility and the fact that it is in so many other communities is a nice feature that we didn't have with the current system.
That's correct. Yeah, our current system is for Summit County only.
Right. And I happened to be in Steamboat over the weekend, this past weekend, and I was trying to figure out their bus system, and I noticed they have Code Red.
Oh, good.
So if you're out and about it in other communities, you could even get critical information.
That's exactly right.
If you're on the road.
That's right. It's a huge benefit over what we have now.
Great. All right. Well, Rob, again, so if people need to get in touch with you, what's your phone number?
It's 970-423-8925.
All right. Well, thanks very much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Sharing all this information behind the scenes on fire bans and fire conditions. And we'll look forward to seeing you back here on County Connection in the future.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the opposite of fire, which is floods, and talk about whether or not your property is located in the floodplain, and if so, what you need to know about that.